one bathroom in the back.
We could gladly open it and make it an open air stair, but we thought the preference for the neighbor was to make it enclosed. We can keep it enclosed and add windows to it.
That's where I was going.
We, we'd definitely be open to any kind of change like that. We thought we were responding to the neighbor's request that it be.
See, I have no idea.
For neighbors.
Yep. Try. I know. I don't.
What's that?
A recommendation would be, when I first looked at the new plan.
Let me try it now.
I saw the wording was perpendicular. And I thought that the addition was going to be perpendicular, starting at where the restaurant is. That's where the original building was. And that actually does not show significantly from High Street to push it over to that side where it originally was. We do have to remember that we're talking about decreasing the amount of space in the original building. I believe the problem was that much of the original building, according to E.E. Blaine, who I spoke to some months ago, went right into the water. There was a bridge of water that went from the Madison over to our house. That's no longer there. It's in the original historic plan of the community. So that whole area, I think we all know, especially with recent, is very, very wet. And that's why there was the bridge that went over, but it didn't help.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Pat, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there were at least 3 land bridges that I know of. And they were called land bridges for a reason. They were over a swamp. It was not over water. The ocean view was not over water. It was simply a way of keeping a flat plane between the ocean view and Shamrock. There was one up on the south side of the cliff that was the total development. That was just over here. So it wasn't a bridge.
It's swamp, wetlands.
It depends on the size. That's a whole state reg. Size and plants.
It's going to be changed.
Yep. It is working. So.
Regulations need to be changed.
We do not have any oversight into the Conservation Commission's responsibility. We still have not addressed the issue of which is a more important viewshed, Spring Street or High Street.
Which is a public viewshed. I think when these regulations are written, you're talking about public viewsheds. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I think that's what they're talking about.
What would you like to see for the back of that building? You're the neighbor. What would you like to see? I would truly like your opinion.
Standards, much of the language of the interior really are seems to contradict some of the things we're looking for. For instance,
I'm not asking for your research it. What would I know you don't want to see this building. I understand that. That being said, if this addition was to go on, could you tell me what you would like to see from the back of that building? Because it is going to be your backyard.
back of the building, as we see it now, it's charming, historic. We had to do some of the things they had at the Manassas, even though we didn't want to with our railing, with it, to keep that charm factor there. And it's private view versus public. I talk about High Street as a public view, and I hope that didn't mean it was just the Doyle's view,
Right.
or the Sousa view, or the Lacoste view. No, it's when you drive up and down. You drive up and down High Street now, it's not just our house, it's over and you see the Manassas, you see the back, it's a lovely building. Now, remember, this thing is going to double in size and come forward to where the pond is now, the pond is all on the water. So a very large piece, and that's what you're gonna see if you drive up High Street from the medical center to school. I think High Street is probably the most crowded street in this community, but that said, that lovely view of the historic Manassas, the back of the building, you can't see it now. Yes, we did have that perpendicular addition on one side, and it's interesting if you look at old maps. You couldn't see that perpendicular addition from High Street. The only place you could see it from the back of our house, but it was over to the left. Now you're taking up the most valuable piece of real estate on the Manassas property to bring this massive structure forward in a motel-like setting, you know, with decks on each side. I don't know what to do.
Pat, you're expressing opinions, which I appreciate, but this is the time where we're gonna ask questions, get a better understanding about the project. As soon as we close the questions, you'll have the opportunity to express your opinions. Okay?
And I do need Pat to speak into the microphone.
All right, well, what would I do? I probably wouldn't still live it there. I think there are other options.
Okay, can I just,
Appreciate that, let's just.
Bill.
Hold on, Bill.
so I have numerous messages about the sound, and now that we have it working properly, could you just talk into the microphone, whoever's speaking, or at the table, so that I don't get more messages?
I'd like to say again, that when we first started this, we were very concerned about the addition of the proposed that ran parallel with Spring Street. With the help of the Preservation Society, we almost come up with going back to something that was there originally, which is probably in the best interest of the town, to satisfy our original concern of the impact on Spring Street. Not to say that the issues being discussed tonight are also important. And if there's any way that the architect could go back and do the magic on the back of the building so that it doesn't look quite so spare, sparse, probably would be a big enhancement to the project.
I would say it shouldn't look like the back of the building. It should look like a nice part of the building. You know, it's a sculpture, architecture is a sculpture, it should look nice from all angles. It shouldn't be a back of the building on this one.
Well, again, I want to get back to Bill's point. We are being asked to approve the siting and massing, not the architectural details. That'll be the next meeting where we'll be talking about the facade, all the facades. So are we ready to take a vote on this?
That's that for the motion.
We were?
That's that for the motion. Preliminary acceptance of the project.
So we need some plain facts. This is a historic building. In fact, it was renovated originally with historic tax credits under the guidance of GS. So this is, we have two buildings on the side of this valley that have been renovated through public monies. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
And should we fill out some of the findings of fact, Marcia? Marcia, you want
I don't have the dates and information that you have with me. Only that we're looking at a near replication of an L that was, the back L that was taken off the Manassas in the 1970s, when it was being uninhabitable. And as part of the the restoration of the original, core building. That, it is in a slightly different location, but there have been additions to the back of the building that prohibit the, replacement of it exactly where it was to start.
Yeah, the building is a significant,
It's a significant building in the historic district, it is a building that many people who were alive today well remember seeing with, long yellow on the back of it. We hope that something can be worked out to incorporate to better make the back of the building not look like a blank wall. I know that's not saying the mass, and that's important for going forward. Because I agree with people that are in set, it shouldn't look like the back of the building.
okay, is there a second to the motion?
It's something
Go
that-
ahead.
And that is that the historic, state historic people talked about a narrow link between the two buildings, a narrower link to create a bridge. And I'm just looking at the plans, and you've only indented 2.5 feet on each side, and that's hardly noticeable. And I would love to see a narrower link there. Yeah, you might lose 2 rooms, or you might make it into a lounge area. I don't know how to do it creatively, but it certainly would look a lot better if there was a definite visual link instead of 2.5 foot indentation.
I didn't hear a second. Second. Motion on the floor to approve the, mission for siting and massing. A number of comments. Are there any other questions, comments? Take a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Should we take a roll call?
That was unanimous, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else now that the motion's been made, have a comment? Matt, you want to make a more comment?
No, but before you send that back wall, I'm reading again from the standards that were behind the letter received. Said that any repair or alteration or addition must not damage or destroy materials, features, finishes that are important in defining buildings of historic character. So this really, I think, is a very important sentence from the standards. The citing of the standards. Then I think something has to be addressed related to what you now have in place about what materials and how you're going to change the historic
That's
character.
all in the next review, Matt.
That's the next review.
Right, all we're talking about now is the siting and mass, not getting into the details of the architectural size. Okay? Move on to the next application. Which is the 32 Dodge Street, Lot C LLC, Lot 6, Lot 138 Dodge Street, application for renovation, construction of addition to existing. One of the things I want to point out that you have not done, we asked specifically for a 3-dimensional model. Like you did with the Gables.
But we want to get, want to get a direct.
I need you to use your microphone, I'm sorry.
dramatically. So since we met with you last time, we dramatically changed or adjusted the alternative scheme we're about to present. And before we go forward with a big model, we wanted to at least show through a three-dimensional computer diagram what our intent is. And to see if the massing direction we're taking is acceptable to the Historic District Commission.
Well, the problem with this presentation is it's a flat surface. The buildings are different heights, different topography, especially in the back. The models that show the topography and the attention to the buildings in the photo.
Now, I think we have what's required. You asked for plans and elevations, building elevations will be included in the packet. And we feel that with this three-dimensional model, by the way, this is one of the owners who is here. Since, if I could maybe just interject that to change from 31 rooms that we were originally in front of the board back in April, the owners have listened to what your response was and reduced the project to 12 rooms. And their intent is to, we actually have 13 rooms existing in the building, 13 guest rooms. So we'd be dropping that by a room. And in doing so, and to meet code, we need to enclose the rear stair, which is presently open air. And we also are allowed 2 freestanding cottages based on for every 4 guest rooms, we're allowed freestanding cottage. And so we've added those directly to the west of the existing building. And what Rob's showing you there is essentially we have the garage, which is going to be converted to a kitchen, small restaurant, so it's not a new in. And yes, and then you have 2 cottages that run along the west side elevation of the property. As we walk through the drawings.
Excuse me, those cottages, they were, eating area is now for Stephanie's.
They're right next to it, but it's on this property. So these are some photographs of the existing Surfside, which you're probably all familiar with. You can see the existing stair that we're going to include part of the renovations and restoration. This is just to show the type of the fabric of the footprints of the buildings on Dodge Street. So you can see it's very similar kind of vernacular style cottage buildings along the street. And we feel that this quality of the buildings on
Dodge Street, you can see here, again, I think the last time we were speaking with you, we talked about the quirky nature of Dodge Street. And I think, if we were to point to a building or a cottage style that will resemble the new one next door to the Surfside, it'd be similar to the Gables cottage, very similar to that. So the scale and architectural would be in keeping with that design. This is, again, a view, this is a survey of all the buildings around Surfside. So what's indicated in yellow is existing. In blue, these would be the two cottages. This is the enclosure of the stairwell, and this is the kitchen off the back of garage building. Originally, we were going to demolish that, but that's going to remain in place. And so this is Persephone's here. This is the view of the existing building.
It's out of context.
You're right, it's out of context, but that's what the existing building is, and this is what we're intending to do in terms of.
Again, it's out of context.
Well, let's look at it here. So, it would have some similarities to like the shed dormer here, adjacent buildings. And this is the existing garage building, so we have a small shed for the kitchen out to the back there. And then these are the two small cottages directly to the west. We can produce the model if this approach that we're proposing today. This is the overall plan for the first floor level.
Well, as you know, we have no jurisdiction over the
Right.
floor plan.
It's just required, that's so we submitted it, but it does give you an idea of what the buildings will appear in relationship to each other.
Is there a connection between the two buildings on Dodge Street, or is that an open space?
This is all open space.
And what's that distance?
This distance is like,
9 feet,
I think,
5'6
+6 here.
5 feet?
Here, and I think it's 8 feet to the property line from this corner.
Between the two buildings, only 5 feet.
5.5 feet.
It's just a walkway, probably similar to some other, I think we could find some other examples down the street, the Blue Dory. And the Gables. They're kind of, they're walkable and addressable. So it's sort of a compound of buildings, very similar to other properties adjacent.
I think that's the advantage of the model, we have a better feel for.
Yes.
I think the model is something that we're going to get when you get reaction to us. That's, I hope that's what it is.
That's what we would do. We wanted to get your reaction to this, so if this seemed like a direction we could go in, then we could produce a more finished model. You can see the scale. Adjacent buildings.
I have a question on, I think you're on A11.
Yeah.
The dotted line on the top, that's the building envelope, is it not? Or is that?
This dotted line is a setback. That's 5 feet from the.
That's the building envelope.
Right.
So it sure wasn't the property line.
No, the property line is
what's the roof slope on that?
It's the existing roof slope and then with, our hope was to, maybe a 4 and 12 break that's gonna have to, enclose the stair.
It is 4 and 12?
Yeah.
It doesn't look at it in the drawing, that's why it's, Bill says a model would be better. But, the dormer isn't supposed to be, it's supposed to come down to the regular roof, which it doesn't. It just is it's really an addition. And it says, you know, our regulations say that, let's see, it's, I'm
Right,
trying
guidelines.
to find the exact wording here. But that it should be a modest design, I wouldn't call that a modest dormer. It's like a different building. And then it said engaged wall plane dormers, stairs, we don't want to do that. It should be at least 4 feet from either gable end of the roof, and 1 foot preferably more from the bottom edge of the roof plane. But we completely obliterated the roof plane in the back. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
evident. That's evident on A2.0.
The same issue was brought up by one of the letter findings.
Right, and that's what we've shown here, is actually, we've incorporated that change zoning. So we've broken that up.
Oh, that's not what we have.
That's what.
But we just responded to that, we wanted to be in front of this.
I mean, this is far superior to.
Right. Right, so, no, that was a good, that's why it's nice to get input, and we listened to the input, and we've made that adjustment, but to your point, both your points. I think now we've created this, dormer that looks more like a dormer and not part of the, you know, like you're saying, one large addition to the building and breaks that
And
up.
how far is it from the edge of the gable?
Well, again, Arlene, we're talking about siding and massing
Well, that's
and
next. That's part of this.
How far is it, I'm sorry?
How far is the dormer from the edge of the gable?
It's like 3 feet.
Yeah, we're talking about.
Yeah, they're talking about, our guidelines say 4 feet.
Well, we could take a look at that, I mean, I think it's 3 feet would give us the room to get this stair in would be very helpful, so. Wondering if you could give us some.
There are windows on the second floor, so there's some space between the top of the windows.
Yeah, I think-
Down the next one.
Oh, this one? Yeah, I'm sure we can adjust those so that, and I think, to your earlier points, we can get into the details and make adjustments to these. If this is more acceptable, so this is what we have now. This is what we're suggesting. Going to. I think it's, at least for my,
I have no argument with that, I just think that we should stay within our regulations.
excuse me, Arlene, these are not regulations, these are guidelines. And they, by guidelines means that you have a vehicle.
Right.
What requirements we create.
So essentially, you guys are gonna take away, and I know because I've seen this, you're gonna take away the ugly stairs.
Right.
If we give you a couple more feet to put them inside.
Yeah.
And that's where guidelines come into play. And I think cleaning up the back of that building, if we have to give them a little bit on the dormers, I think it's a pretty good deal on our end. I wish you guys had some actual pictures of the back, that stairway. I'm perfectly good with giving them a couple feet to clean that back of that building.
At the same time,
No, absolutely. Yes.
So it's not stair, it looks like one side of it is wider than the other. So, I mean, that means that the stair could be
Well,
contracted.
what we're doing is we have to turn the stair in, so it's actually going into the building.
Yeah, I'm looking at the interior plan.
Right.
A12.
Right. So we're kind of restricted on the minimum size of width of the stair, and that's partially why we can't do the 4 foot. On either end.
I understand that, but just looking at this, and it looks like the stair is maybe 4 or 5 or 6 feet on one run, and then when you turn the corner, it's probably 3.
Oh, well, you know, again, these are early drawings, they just didn't get the thing, it should be centered, that's incorrect.
Okay, but that might allow you to bring that in.
I think the actual width is, we're always, as you know, as an architect, we're working to the minimum requirement, basically. So I think it's probably like 8 foot wide, which is roughly what we have there.
Is there any more questions or comments from the commission members?
I think you're making good progress. We're way ahead of where we started. Our, you remember our first thing was this massive.
I think it's.
That's why I like about it too, and the whole area is full of little cottages, and instead of having this long, and you guys really dropped it down to what, 31 rooms to 12? I mean,
Thank you for listening.
We don't have a lot of compelling voice, we try to respond.
How many rooms total?
12.
Right, everything. Nothing.
There's 10 in the main building and 2 accessory buildings.
I would like to now open it up to the audience. If the audience has any questions of the project. At this juncture, it's not opinion, but questions specifically.
And I'm just gonna remind you that you need to use the microphone, please.
Thank you. Rosemary Ives. I'm looking at aerial view A0.1, and my question for the applicant is, it's a large, I assume it's the dash line that's all of their property. This is all of their property. This is all of the property. All right, you have an overview like this that shows the footprint of what you're proposing on this. You have this little footprint, on the documents that I have, you show what you're proposing in terms of footprint on this.
Nothing here. Nothing here. That all stays open. It's all just right there, right there.
The whole development is right there.
What is,
So there's a grassy hill, you see where you're
no,
going?
what's future use?
The grassy hill.
This is a committee
Could
question.
you speak in the microphone, please?
Yes, sorry, my question was, what about the rest of the property? Because I think it's really important in planning that we evaluate context of the natural environment and context of the built environment. So although they're proposing right now, what's before you, this parcel, this little area right there, I want to know what's going to happen with the rest of this.
Well, you also need to know what the topography is.
Yes, that's right.
The topography of that site, like that, whole thing.
Yeah. So just to give a little bit more context around this, the Coastal Resource Commission doesn't allow building within 200 feet of the shore and of course, and so the line is right here.
Okay, all right.
And so we don't have any intention of building anything on the front
All right.
side of the lot.
That's great, that's great clarification.
And they will also need to go to the zoning board and
Right.
planning board for approval of this.
The only comment that I would make is actually thanks to the presentation I went to at the Historical Society the other evening was that, and I commend sort of the breaking down into smaller buildings, but there's like this peekaboo view in between Persephone's
in your property. And it appears right now that we're talking about views and view corridors, that it's eliminated. So,
Not totally eliminated, it's kind of narrow. It's narrow. Makes it more accentuated.
Any other questions, John?
Carolyn. Should I like it? So my question is more around, the height measurements that were missing off of it, because we didn't have any way to kind of gauge, we didn't have a model. And in previous plans, we have seen elevations, and the buildings included. And so there were absolutely no elevations on even the cottages. You know, again, congratulations, much improved, really excited about where we're headed. But concerned about height, even of the little cottages, so they're much smaller than what we were proposing earlier. Okay, on my plan that I got, there were absolutely no height measurements at all, and without any, inclusion of any of the surrounding buildings, it was just so hard to tell, to like lay it out in my brain. Then to view sheds, and maybe is that not what we're discussing right now, but then to view sheds, this, I love the little cottages, which is what we're all accustomed to seeing. Brilliant. But that is a very, very important view shed, and you fill the whole thing in with the cottages and then the flat roof in the back, which perhaps isn't going to be as much of an issue, but these cottages, because there are two of them there and they're separated, it creates a wall right from the street. All of the structures heading all the way down Dodge Street all have garden spaces. They all have greenery, including the gables. The surf, not so much, but you have that, or the beach house, not so much, but you do have that bend in the road where you create, the age-old garden that's been there forever. But all the way down the street, everybody has a little pocket of something, as well as those peekaboo view sheds. And that view shed of the Gothic is just so important. And I think that if you haven't kind of entered it in your brain, you should really walk by and see that, the way it kind of just pops up and is just so magical. I might,
Glenn, is that a new plan? Because this is the plan that I have in the folder and,
yeah, 'cause this is all different.
We
Yeah.
responded to the, so.
okay, so this isn't a plan that you've seen before? It's
Well,
slightly different?
it's just got dimensions on it and it's got call out materials. It's what you see there is the same.
So just while you're looking for your photo, a couple answers to your questions. The two cottages were designed specifically to make sure that they were not blocking second floor windows in your building. So they're 16.5 feet, or 16 foot 2.25 inches tall. We kept them shorter than they would technically be allowed to be to accommodate the views. And as Glenn pointed out, there will be a pocket, smaller pocket view between the cottage and the Surfside's 5'6". But certainly not the same as it currently is. We did take all of your input into consideration with the view shed and being able to get off the ferry and see the Gothic and walk down the street and see the Gothic by shortening our addition by 40 feet. So, but point is well taken.
And our hope too, our hope also, as Rob just said, is if this is acceptable to the commission, then we go forward and get a landscape. We have a landscape architect who worked with us on the previous projects. And
What about a three-dimensional model?
and we'll do the model, but we'll also at the same time have a landscape plan that you'll be able to review also. So the intent is to create green space between the buildings. It's to their benefit to have this beautiful space be created, with the spaces we have between the buildings will be green and
that, I guess I was more discussing initially, that's all fabulous,
the front of the, just all of those, like the Surfside is right up on or on the sidewalk, I should say. So it looks like that first little cottage is gonna be the same, the plan is to have it be right up on that sidewalk.
Part of that too is, that's all right, it'll be an ADA unit. And that should be accessible. Wheelchair,
Where would the ramp be?
it's gonna be. It'll be a grade, we checked the grade with the landscape architect, yeah, so you'll be able to access it right up the sidewalk.
Is the ridge on the original building the same height?
Yeah,
It is now.
yeah, that's not changing.
In the picture on the dorm is the same as it is now.
Yeah.
And the dormer in the front is horrible.
We know you go that way.
We're gonna paint your name on it. We can figure out how to beautify it.
Under this plan, from what I'm seeing right now, that side of the hill that is up there is not being changed at all. Nothing is coming into that because that falls into CRMC.
Right.
Okay, so we're not even
Jenny, you
doing
wanna
any
make that?
major excavation.
I was just gonna say, if you wanted to get a consensus on this plan and so they could come back with the 3D model and a landscaping plan before you approve siting and massing, so you're not approving something without seeing the model. Was
Well, that was my
was my
intent, I
thought.
think, before we do final approval, we need to see the three-dimensional model, of the whole streetscape, not just site and the landscaping.
And where's the parking gonna be for,
Yeah.
where,
So that'll come back with the landscape plan, but there will be parking back here. Where the current parking lot is, behind this building
but isn't that parking for the existing uses that, like for the surf?
this is on a separate lot. You use it occasionally for surf parking, but it's not a requirement of that particular building.
Where is it? This is a room. I'm sorry.
This whole thing is a separate lot.
Can I answer? Can I just- You feel, I don't feel comfortable approving this. I don't feel comfortable approving this is far superior to what we saw before. But I don't feel comfortable approving this for citing and massing because we don't have any dimensions on the height.
Well, we have to come back to, we're asking them to come back with a model, with dimensions, and landscape. And then we would take a vote on the siting dimensions, but not tonight.
I think what they really need to know, is, do we agree on the little buildings, because it's costing a lot of money to make one of the models, so I'm not sure.
And like consensus that they're okay with what we're getting, everything we need for that.
And just a point of clarification on how far down and from where we start with our model. Do we just want the 6 or 7 buildings surrounding that, or are you asking us to do from the corner of the surf all the way down to Diamond Blue? Maybe we can get Blake to chip in.
All of
on
it.
that.
Would everybody agree with what we see there was good enough for a model? What we see in
I think
A
the
01?
Gothic should be part of it.
Oh,
That's
sure.
isn't that the Gothic?
I think we have part of that.
Yeah, the 3 of others, so the dot.
Right.
We have a model that more or less encompasses all that.
I think the Gothic probably tested the exactly those skills.
Then you said the next one is the landscape. Did you put the parking lot into that model? So
We'll have part of it, and we'll have a landscape plan to review as well.
And the parking will be on the lot that the surf sides.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the access,
Access will remain the same, between the blue dory.
do you need, is there, I mean, this might not be a question for you guys or.
Speaking
right
to the
now.
microphone, please.
It might not be a pertinent question right now, but do you need like a loading dock or zone or anything for a restaurant or kitchen or any of that? Is that for another day?
You're proposing to put a restaurant in the surface?
We're proposing to build these buildings right now. That's the extent of our.
With this
proposal.
back building, the old barn is proposed to be a kitchen and a restaurant.
It's not part of our proposal because it's not relevant to this conversation, but we're thinking about it. It's being considered, and it's a by right move.
Or there's parking
There are a number of
requirements?
those on record, that don't exist in this town.
What, we still have to go through planning and zoning and those issues will be.
It's just that some of them are questions that, again, I think that your purview of HCC does include, like venting and that kind of type of thing. So that would be pertinent. would it
That
not?
would be in the final proposal, see the mechanicals.
Yes, in terms of venting and.
We're not ready.
Okay.
Right, and all of the different uses have parking requirements, so
Yes.
it's or,
So those,
yes.
On another.
yes.
I have one last question on the parking, and I'll let you paint a broad stroke. I mean, do you plan on doing any excavating that's gonna make more parking? Or are we just gonna stay, use what's there at the elevation of the parking that's there now? Because I do understand it's a separate lot.
Yeah, we can't really cut into the road,
Okay, so
so we'll be using,
existing there, no excavation.
right?
I'm still not. Well, this isn't so much. I'm still not clear, and I'm not sure how much it's appropriate for this meeting, but for service deliveries, town is so congested and parking is a huge issue as are deliveries to Dodge Street. And I think you guys have done a great job so far, so any kind of rain on the parade, but I'm not clear where, I mean, I've had parked at the surf for a long time. I mean, what was the surf, this parking? And so you're saying through this little area here, the delivery trucks are gonna come through, because a lot of them can't fit as it is. And then your people are gonna pull up in front, so taxis are gonna stop here, or they're gonna be coming through. This is a pretty busy area, and I don't know if this is any of your business or anything I should be bringing up right now. But it's a consideration that it's a historic area, and right now, there's like, you're saying this is the parking that you're saying is yours and not the surf's?
Well, we own both, so we use it.
Because there's not adequate parking for what's going on now. It's just a consideration for an already
Well,
busy.
parking is a zoning issue, not a historic district.
Okay, but
issue.
it's also, I would think, something that might, if they want to go forward,
It's not appropriate.
okay, so they're gonna make a model and that's gonna go from there. Okay, you're good.
I've seen the trucks back in
Yeah, you know, the deliveries come in back to the board and go to the surf.
there, kind of freak me out.
They also pull up in front of Walmart stores all the time too.
They pull up all on Front Street, they pull up everywhere. I mean, it's not just Dodge Street. As I said, there are on record, places are supposed to have loading areas that do not have them in this town.
Well, there is consensus with everyone that we will look for action. We received a three-dimensional model plus a landscape design.
And dimension drawings, dimension, height dimension.
Are there, because I'm seeing dimensions on something that you flew to here that wasn't included in my packet, so I just, that would be extremely helpful, moving forward, to just get all of those dimensions.
That is something they brought to the meeting, in response to a few of the letters that we
Oh, okay.
received.
Okay,
But the board hasn't reviewed that, and we don't have a copy yet for the file, so. they-
yeah, that would have gone a long way, just, and even, in some of the plans, just as had been done previously, there were pictures of the surrounding buildings, so we're done.
I think there.
You got a comment or a question?
Yes, I have two comments. One, I'm in agreement. I'd rather not have a microphone. Fine. Okay, thank you. I have two observations.
One is the view heading west on Dodge Street of the Gothic Inn, which I think is a very important view that the board should take into major consideration. Where the great negative spaces that come along, obviously Gothic is a classic building. The other one concerns the dormer in the front and the rear of the main building. I think your guidelines might stipulate that the dormers don't start at the ridge, that they're dropped down a little bit. So the ridge line is observed as one straight line, not interrupted by the dormer. And the other dormer on the rear, I don't know where your guidelines stipulate as to the width, the raising and the dormer. So, those issues have been brought up in terms of the dormer on the back. So is there anything else we need to talk about? So do we need a formal motion to defer?
No.
All right.
So just so we're gonna come back with the model, and the consensus is that we have to, but that we've moved in the right direction. And hopefully next time we'll get a yes or no on the massing, if we get back with the model and the landscape. Okay, thanks for the guidance. See you soon. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Block Island Utility District, Block 17, Lot 35, Ocean Avenue, application for a new building on that corner. What is that?
Jeff Wright asked to defer until next month because they've been busy with this one.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, these, we have minutes to
They're in your box. Yeah. You're welcome. I did this so they could get on
Okay, the minutes were packaged.
Well, we can talk about it.
June
Everybody
21st,
else.
2021. Anybody have any additions or corrections?
Hey guys. I'll change the time for this meeting to about 6. I kind of like really upset. I don't know what we have to do.
Well, the reason we did it at 5 was
What is the reason?
to get really clear.
But how would you feel about changing from 7 until 6?
For me,
Does it run into anybody else?
I'll check the calendar and make sure. I don't think it does.
You know, I'm waiting 2 hours for a meeting after work, you know, it's just, I just don't want. I'm with you and I are up.
Everybody, I mean, all the other boards in the land use are 5 or 6. Some are at 4, but it's up to you.
well, I would go for 6 o'clock, that's not a problem. But we still need to approve the minutes.
I have one correction. And that is, I asked if the cupola will be a larger scale than a slope.
Okay.
And I don't mention the 2 chimneys. And they also said that the cupola is bigger than the original.
So with it, those changes, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I have another change, but I didn't vote,
I will think so.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion to adjourn.